State Football Insiders. I'm your host, Rob Penn, along with J.R. Redmond, and our special guest host today, Rudy Burgess. What's up, fellas?
How you doing, man?
What's going on?
All right now?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, today we got a special guest, one of my favorite receivers in Sun Devil history. Let's give it up for Mr. Derek Hagan. What's going on, boss?
Not much, man. How you doing today? You know, on this Wednesday.
Yeah, wonderful, bro. Wonderful. I've been waiting for this interview, man. Definitely one of my favorites.
No, that's what's up. Appreciate it, man. You know, putting in a lot of work, a long time ago. Still working, but no more running like I used to.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, let's talk about you transitioning from playing to coaching. What was the biggest adjustment?
I think from playing to coaching, just really understanding, each player. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's because when you're dealing with players, you got so many different personalities, and sometimes you got to dive in and dig deep to really understand how a player reacts. You know what I mean? Even though we're all former players, but everybody thinks differently, and sometimes you don't want to be labeled as the cool coach or, this is my homeboy coach. You want to make sure, obviously when you're talking to the players, you're able to get your point across, and it wasn't that tough, but it's a transition that we think we know it all as players, but trying to figure that coaching aspect out, it takes a little time, and once you get it, man, it's you can take it and run with it once you truly understand how to really deliver some information and watch your players go out there and perform on a day-to-day basis.
Gotcha.
I understand what you're saying. After I retired, I immediately started training. And the reason I started training is because of some of the coaching that I received on both levels, at the collegiate level and in the NFL level. I found there was a high turnover of guys coming in and out of the league when they had the ability, they had the capability to play. However, it isn't all the times that the coach has the vernacular or the ability to articulate what he wants from a player, what he wants out of a player. If he hasn't actually physically done it, then he has to get the right game footage, right? Put the right film in front of you to try and show what it is I'm trying to articulate. I need you to do this, right? So skill set teaching, right? That's a difficult thing at the next level, right? They don't really teach skill set. You got to go find either other guys that played the game or watch guys that play at a high level to get your skill set better. You can always learn X's and O's and alignment and assignment, but can you speak to skill set training and how important it is to have a coach that knows what he's doing in regards to performance-based stuff?
Right. Well, that's big time. Skill set. That's obviously number one. What I teach my guys is nothing but technique. The guys that I've worked with over the years, it's all about technique, because you don't have technique, it really doesn't matter what you do, because we can be playing ball in the fourth quarter, and you can be going up against, let's just say, the best running back, best linebacker, and if your technique is not on point, he's probably going to be right on you. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I try to really help on my guys, just to really understand the details and art of really truly being a wide receiver, because it's an art. You know what I mean? It's a craft, and you got to have that craftiness, and that's something I always try to pass down to my guys is playing receiver. We do the most running. You know what I mean? We run all day and we catch all day. Two things we got to. That's what we do. So if we're not, up to speed and capable of doing that, obviously you're not going to be on the field, but you just got to have that skill set, because if you don't have it, you're not going to be on the field.
I think also too, D-Hague, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, is that skill set and being able to relay that information is big things like relationships. You got to be able to apply certain skill sets to certain players, because not everybody can do what, a big body receiver like you can do, and not everybody can do some, like somebody smart like Steve Smith. So being able to identify, who you're coaching and what you're trying to coach to their strength I think is important too,
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, so this week we have Stanford. Hey, let's talk about one of the games that you dominated against the Cardinals.
Man, I'm trying to think back. That was what was that? 05, 03, something like that. I think I had, I think we're up at Stanford. I know you guys were talking about it earlier. I don't think ASU's won, at Stanford in a long time, but from what I remember, I think I had one game up there where I had, 2 or 3 touchdowns, and I think it was like 3 or 4 catches for like 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, something like that. And then it was another game here, at home back in 05, where I think I probably had, over 100 yards. Can't remember the exact number, but solid game. I'm assuming we won the game. My senior year had Andrew Walter as a quarterback, and not my senior year, my junior. I think we had Andrew Walter as a quarterback, and obviously Rudy B back there, in the backfield doing some things, getting jiggy with it, toting that rock and catching it. So, solid performance all around.
Hey, I'd like to throw this out there real quick in regards to, I know the question is about Stanford. However, I'm going to be the guy that bypassed that question. I apologize. My question is for you, Rudy. We just kind of talked about skill set, and I just wanted the opportunity to ask you, being such a versatile guy, Derek, you are a wide receiver. In and throughout, 100% you are a wide receiver, right? That is your skill set. That is who you are. When you line up, that's what you're gonna do. But my other man right here, your skill set, you seem to have multiple skill sets. Can you just speak to that? What it is to have multiple skill sets and how that helped you be a real all-around player.
I think having the multiple skill sets is very important. And what's funny is that you speak about that. I just found an old box of VHS tapes from me playing Pop Warner. And I was actually watching those videos, and, my first play was at quarterback, to be honest. And because we didn't have anyone who could get me the ball or someone who could hand me the ball, they just had me start with the ball and then now run a sweep, So I think that kind of helped me with learning to play the running back position, And then same thing on defense. I was a safety, but then I would come downhill playing the box when it was short yardage to play linebacker because, we didn't have anybody else to kind of fill that position. So I think growing up, not having players around to fill those positions kind of forced me to be the one to jump around into different positions to fill for the team and for the coach and for the game plan. I was always curious as to what can I do to stay on the field to make the next play, So, just growing up in the game and being that versatile player, I just carried it all through high school, and it kind of benefited me up until college because then I was able to play, 3 different positions and, somewhat be successful at those 3.
Well, sure. Let's just start with JR, man. He's OG. Obviously being an old head and stuff, and coming from LA to Phoenix, man. How was that transition for you? Because at that time, you really growing up, I figured, a lot of cats wanted to go to either SC or UCLA, especially being from California. What was that transition like for you?
It was definitely a learning experience. Like you said, growing up in Los Angeles, kind of wanting to stay in the Los Angeles area, but things didn't work out for one reason or another. And I ended up going to ASU. ASU was one of the teams that stuck with me through coming out of high school. I didn't pass my SAT test. So I graduated, summer of 95, fall of 95. I was at Long Beach City Junior College. By spring of 96, I was at ASU. So I sat out a half a semester, went to a junior college where I continued to take my SAT test, passed it. Then I was on my way to ASU after that. It was a huge transition for 2 reasons. One, being a city kid, being in the inner city of Los Angeles, growing up in Carson, which is a really multicultural city, really diverse. But it's majority minority. So, I was really a bit culture shocked walking across campus. I didn't know there was that many white people in the world, let alone in one place. So it was kind of like, whoa, but after maybe my first year, and I started to develop friends from all cultures, from all backgrounds, things started to get a little bit easier for me because it paralyzed me because I was in an unfamiliar surrounding, and I didn't know anybody. You know, for every 400 or 500 kids I see one person that looks like me. When, you know, it was just a polar opposite at home. So that was a little bit difficult for me, transitioning, just being out of the culture that I'm normally in and being in a completely different culture, completely different atmosphere. But the football part of it was lovely. Right. It was lovely. It was nothing but love. From Pop Warner to high school, your game elevates and you walk within that, or you get passed up. From high school to college, your game elevates and you step up and you walk in that, or you get passed up. I was fortunate enough for my game to always elevate and to be able to stay in that elevation. Every time our game elevated, I went up a level, you know, I played that way. And it was just awesome to get the opportunity at ASU, because like you had, and like my other man on the phone, Rudy, had, when it was your time, your number got called.
Right.
That was, your number got called. You got to show exactly why your number got called. So that was the big thing about going to ASU, is because when they have ball players, they use their ballers. Sure. And I time and time again, as the years have gone, as I left, I got to watch all you dudes that still hold records today. See, this is how you know who the ballers are. You've been gone 5, 10 plus years, your records still stand.
Right.
Your record, I've been gone 20 years. My records still stand.
No, that's what's up.
You know what I mean? So
let me add on to that, JR. DH, with him saying that you're transitioning through the levels, when did you realize that you could play on that level at the level that you played?
You talking about in the league, or you talking about?
I'm talking about at ASU. At ASU, from that high school to college transition, let you know that you have arrived.
Man, probably for me, it all started in practice, man. It you know, obviously I wasn't heavily recruited. ASU was the only Pac-12, Pac-10 offer that I had at that time. And, you know, obviously, you know, I felt snubbed by SC, USC, obviously being a Cali guy growing up in Palmdale, you know, that was, you know, where we wanted to go.
I heard that before.
Never got offered by him, got offered by Fresno State, and I think Idaho and UNLV, and said Arizona State came around, and it, you know, it was a no-brainer for me. You know, when Dirk Cutter and Ron English, when they came out to Palmdale, because at that time, not too many coaches was coming up that 14 freeway. And, you know, once I got out to practice, like I said, I wasn't heavily recruited. We had another receiver that was a 4-star recruit. One of my guys, Terry Richardson, who was from Corona, you know, he was a big time prize recruit coming in. And my whole mindset was, I'm not going to redshirt. You know what I mean? I want to play. I'm going to be a true freshman. And I brought it daily, man. When I stepped on that practice field, it was, you know, there was no denying what I wanted to do. I didn't want a red shirt. I was like, I'm coming in to play. I don't care who's in front of me. It don't matter if you're a junior, senior, sophomore. Somehow I was going to get on the field, and you know, it just worked at it day by day. Learned from the guys that was in front of me. I think I had Sean McDonald, Daryl Lightfoot, Skylar Fulton. You know, 3 guys. That I learned a whole lot from. Justin Taplin, you know, the OG number 4.
J-Tap.
You know, I was learning from all those guys. My freshman year, they taught me how to work, and, you know, I just came with it and brought it daily.
Yeah, and along that recruiting trail, D-Hay, I remember, like, for me to step my game up, it was when we were battling back in high school. You know, like you said, not many people were coming down that 14 freeway. Right. And for anyone to come, you know, me going up on an Air Force base, you know, that was even more critical to get out there and recruit, you know. And to be honest,
you was farther out than me.
Absolutely. And honestly, I almost appreciate you, because without you, you know, there's almost no me, because if you're not getting recruited in Palmdale and the Antelope Valley, you know, nobody's coming down that freeway to find me down in those lower slums, you know. And so I think in my recruiting trail, to see someone from the Valley, you know, someone who I played against like you know, to go to ASU, that kind of solidified and kind of opened up my eyes, because I was committed to Washington State.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then, you know, to see you in the paper leading receiver, and then I was leading receiver from week to week, you know, we're battling in the Valley Press stats here and there. And then once you go to ASU, I'm like, man, if he did that, man, I just need to dominate here in the Valley. And man, I can write my story just like that, man. So, you know, to this day, that's one of the humbling stories that I have, and I, you know, be able to tell a lot of these kids that anything's possible if you just grind to it. You just got to step up to the challenge.
Right.
Hey, so Rudy, punt return, handoff, or running a route from the wide receiver position?
Give me the ball now.
Handoff. You want that handoff?
I want the ball now. There's too much going on when you need the quarterback to get me the ball. I've always told that to these guys. I said, give me the rock now. I don't want no screen. I don't want to run no route. I don't want to depend on no line. Give me the draw.
Put it in my hand.
You hear these guys?
That's what's up.
Hey, we call it poetry in motion out there on that island. Set him up, stem him, go ahead, stack him, and get going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's D. Haig's book right there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, fellas, this week, like I say, we play Stanford. They just came off of a victory, squeaking by Notre Dame, who's really, just getting by this season, So what are we looking at this week going up to Stanford? We're both 2-4. I know Coach Shaw has something for us. Let's get it going. What do you think? What will it take for us to get that victory out there?
My personal opinion, I think honestly, we need to, one, control the game a little bit more. And what I mean by that is we need to get more plays out, and run more plays. And by doing that, I was looking at the stats. Washington, they dominated us in every category of stats. And I think the only reason that we were able to snake away with that is that they went for it on 4th down and only converted once. You know what I mean? Yeah. So by them attempting those 4th down conversions put us in position to go and capitalize and score. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we could depend on Stanford doing that, on those 4th down possessions. And we got to be able to stop them on defense on 3rd down. And then I think we get the ball in next Valladay's hand, get him out in space, because I think he could be electrifying. I think he could be electrifying and dynamic, and we won't know until we make that attempt,
What do you got, Derek, this week going to Stanford?
You know what? Obviously, anytime you go on the road, man, and just from a coaching perspective, it's always tough. Obviously going into a hostile environment. Stanford's not an easy place to play in, and obviously, they're not having that type of year that Stanford has had over the past 10 years. Kind of sort of down this year, but they're still a dangerous team in the Pac-12 because any given week, man, anything can happen. And I think. Obviously, the team's feeling good right now. They got a good taste in their mouth of victory. Took a while, took about 3-4 weeks to get the job done, but they got it done. But now they got to flip the page and turn into these road warriors, man. It's you're going in there. You got to come in and just sit there and play some sound football, man. You got to show up for 4 quarters and whether it's on offense, defense, or special teams, you got to be able to click on all sides. We just got done talking about Valladay, man. I think he's one of the best running backs in the Pac-12, and for the staff to go out and recruit this kid, and obviously using the transfer portal to get him to come here, that's big time. And now you see what the wideout Elijah Badger is finally starting to do. He's finally starting to step up to the plate and live up to the expectations that we had when we recruited him. So he's finally playing a part, and once they get this thing going, man, I think sky's the limit for them. But you just got to come with it on the road. You got to block out all the noise. You might deal with a little crowd noise, but you just got to take it one play at a time, man, and throw all the marbles out there, because right now, they got nothing to lose. Just put it all out there and go get it.
I think in order to win, a couple of things. I think we got to run the ball effectively. I think it's going to start up front. I believe 3rd down on both sides of the ball are key. We got to get 1st downs on 3rd down, and on the other side of the ball on 3rd downs, we got to get off the field. We can't allow, a lot of 3rd down conversions after we've, played 3 sound downs of defense to not let the big play or the minimal play that turns into a big play happen. We also got to get a big play out of special teams. We need a kickoff return. We need a punt return. We need a block. We got to get the special teams to show up to affect the game for the offensive standpoint or from a defensive standpoint.
Well, now we go to Juan for the keys to victory.
What's up, everybody? This is the Mexican Menace with the keys to the game. Stanford's a very big game. Both teams won their last game. Stanford beat Notre Dame, and of course ASU pulled off the upset against the Dogs. But what's going to happen this week? You got 2 teams that are 2-4. 2 teams that's safe to say are on the struggle bus. ASU is trying to find an identity. They did find a way to win that football game, and now they're looking for a way to possibly salvage their season under new coach Sean Aguano. So what are going to be the keys to beating Stanford? Stanford, of course, is used to winning. David Shaw, while they're 2-4, don't go to sleep on these guys. They do have some firepower, but they do have some very glaring weaknesses. So this is the chance for ASU to do something special here, get 2 wins in a row, and the first key is going to be ground and pound. Stanford's giving up 197.5 yards per rushing per game, guys. That is huge. When you got Xavier Valade, you got Daniel Ngata, you got a lethal 1-2 punch there. That offensive line should be fired up, getting ready to move those chains, get that ground game going early, and get it going often against the Cardinal, so that you can keep that offense on the sidelines and get some points out of some of these drives. The second key to this game, Stanford has given up 17 sacks on the season. That offensive line is not the offensive lines of old, where you saw several players go to the NFL. It's not the same Cardinal offensive line that it was before. That quarterback, you got to Tanner, get to him. You got to find a way to rattle him, get sacks, get pressures, blitz, whatever has to be done. This D-line has been looking for an identity. They've been looking for a way to make themselves known. This is their chance against that Stanford offense. And the last is stay hungry. Stanford's 2-4. Like I said, ASU's 2-4. Yes, ASU beat UW, but you can't get complacent here. You can't think that you're better than what you are. You got to keep that one-at-a-time mentality, keep that nastiness, that aggressiveness, that intensity that helped them beat University of Washington at home. You got the Stanford Cardinal at home. You want to chop those trees down. You got to stay hungry, keep things in perspective, get to 3-4, and let's have a chance to salvage the season. It's going to be a great game at Sun Devil Stadium. Forks up, go Devils. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in. This show right here is ASU history. Hey, till next week, we'll see you later on ASU Football Insiders. Thank you, fella.
Proud.
Appreciate it.